Hey everyone, welcome back to the Insurance Lounge with me, Tanya.
And me, Christy.
We're your local insurance agent here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we are on a mission to make insurance a little less boring and way more useful and something that you can actually feel confident about. Our goal is to help you better protect your family, your home, your business, and of course, your future without making things overly complicated. So, with that said, Christy, what are we talking about today?
Let's talk about do's and don'ts, right? Tanya, how do I actually get the best rate for my insurance, the most appropriate rate for my insurance? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? Let's dig in.
Yeah, absolutely, Christy. With the cost of everything going up, right? We want to make sure that you know everything that you can do and that you can control to make sure that you can get the best possible rate. Doesn't matter who you choose to go with for your insurance. Um, so with that said, let's talk about the don't do first.
The don'ts. Yeah. So, number one, do not let your insurance lapse. Don't ignore the bill when it comes. Don't think it'll just be okay if you're just a day late. It won't be, folks, and your insurance will lapse. And any gap in your coverage is only going to negatively impact your, eligibility and rates down the line. Plus, if you have an accident during a lapse, you're not covered. You don't have coverage. Pay your bills on time.
Absolutely. And I want to stretch one thing too. I know a lot of times when we try to help someone secure new insurance coverage, and either we cannot help them because the lapse has been way too long, or there
Right.
are some lapses in between. And even when you guys are wanting to switch insurance, make sure there's no lapses. So even one day of lapse, it will count against you because
Yeah.
it's technically not considered as continuous insurance anymore.
Right.
So some states don't care about that, but most states out there, especially in our area, Chattanooga, Georgia, Tennessee, um, I'm sorry, Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama, I should say, right? All these states really care about the lapses.
Yeah.
And I know there are agents out there that telling you, oh, it's okay if you're late because there is a grace period. Guys, the grace period only apply if you choose to stay with your current carrier.
Yeah, good point. Good
So
point. And the other thing about late payments is you might be missing out on a better rate factor or discount for responsible payments. So it really matters to pay this bill in particular. Others, the cable bill, you can probably fudge it a little bit, but the insurance bill really needs to be paid on time.
yep, yeah. So don't do that, right? Don't let your insurance lapse and don't ignore your bill. Don't be late because to Christy's point, right? It's not just going to affect your preferred rate or your discount for being a responsible payer, but a lot of time, I think just in general, Christy, if you're late on your bills, that's one of the factor that really affect your insurance score,
Yep,
right?
you got it. You got it.
So you will pay for that in the long run. So the more favorable insurance score you get, the better
The better
insurance
your
rate.
rate's going to be. Yep, you got it.
Absolutely.
Here's another one I really want to talk about too. Don't shop your insurance with every renewal. Don't shop every 6 months. You may think that that is going to get you the best rate, but in actuality, it is not going to get you the best rate in the long run, right, Tanya?
Absolutely. There are a lot of carriers out there, value your loyalty. So even though if you don't see a loyalty discount on your policy, but you might get the more preferred rate, right,
Right.
on your policy. And I think a lot of times, what we see customer might miss is when you are with a carrier for a longer period of time, of course you can shop around every 2 or 3 years and whatnot, and just make
Yes.
sure you're still getting the same value. But I think what we're missing, Christy, is if you constantly switching around, you're not really getting their loyalty rate. You're not getting a lot of time. There are carriers that will offer accident forgiveness.
Right, right.
right? So if you're restarting that all the time, you're not really earning that perk that
Right.
you might need in the event you get into an at-fault accident. So that's another disadvantage for you if you're switching around too much. What do you think, Christy? Most carrier that offer that perk for loyal customers, what it usually take, what, 3 years, 5 years,
Three,
depending
3 to 5 years. Yeah, exactly is what I was going to say.
yeah. And the other thing to think about too, if your current company or your new company realize that you're not really a loyal customer, you're not going to really stay that long. Anytime you switch, even if you have great insurance score, even if you have no accident, no tickets, you are not probably not going to get their preferred rate, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's so much information about all of us online today. And I know people hate to hear that, but it is the truth. And when we as agents, pull public records simply by using our systems, to generate the quote, that's what happens in the background. We're pulling all this public information and it knows, excuse me, it knows if you've switched, constantly, if you have an unstable, kind of record, that's going to come through.
Absolutely. Yeah, just stick around for a while, earn some loyalty perks, get some preferred rate, right?
Yeah, and it's like you said, do shop every 2 to 3 years. Certainly, not a problem with that at all. But more frequently than that, really is just not helping you like you think it is.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about the doo-doos.
What do we do? All right. So, number one, keep your driving record clean. Um, there are all kinds of reasons, obviously, to keep your driving record clean. But even if you do, get that one off kind of, you got a ticket, you drifted a little bit faster, than you meant to. You got a ticket for speeding, or you rolled through a stop sign, whatever the case may be. Go to court for that. Don't just ignore it and figure it's not a big deal and let it hit your record and it won't have any impact. It might or it might not. It probably will, but it might be dismissed if you go to court. And I'll be honest, I actually had to go to court for speeding not too long ago. But I went to court. My ticket was dismissed. Thank you. But it wasn't just mine. I watched person after person after person after
Oh,
person walk up there and get their tickets dismissed because of what the judge was saying was, you have a clean record. I don't see that you've been in court here, on something like this in 10 years, 15 years. We're going to dismiss this, which was exactly the case for me, and so I just tell people all the time, go to court. Just take that. I know it takes some time, but take the time because it's worth it.
absolutely. And you have so many reasons why you should take the time to do that, right, Christy? Because the ticket, you will get a large surcharge for that.
Yeah,
Oftentimes, carrier look at that and penalize you a lot more heavily than if you were to have an at-fault accident. Because the truth is, when you get into an accident, it's called an accident, right? It happens.
right,
Every now and then, everybody gets into an accident, you know. But a ticket is something that you can control. So a lot of carriers will look at that and say, wow, Christy is not a careful driver.
right,
So
right.
she's going to get penalized for that. And another reason why it's worth it to show up to court is because if you get dismissed, that's great. Your rate's not going to change. But if that ticket stay because you didn't care to show up to take care of it and it stays, it's going to stay on your record for 3 years.
3 years. Yep.
But that's when it's impacting your policy. In reality, that ticket will show up on your driving record for at least 5 to 7 years, depending
Yep.
on which carrier you work with. So it's really worth it to take. How long did that take time out of your day, Christy?
I mean, travel time and sitting there and everything, I probably spent 3 hours, away from work. So it was 3 hours I'll never get back. I saw some interesting things, but in the end, I saved my rate by using that time. Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another thing that we talk a lot about, Christy, is ask about all the discounts, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. From, bundling and safe driving, defensive driving, telematics is the one I really like to encourage people to use. Guys, it's the way that we're going in the future, and I always say, and so for those non-insurance speakers, right? Telematics is your whatever that your carrier is using to monitor your speed, your phone use while you're driving the car, hard braking, things like that. Lots of these things operate today just off of having your mobile phone in the car with you. And, I hear it all day long. I don't want anybody tracking me like that. I'm not going to give anybody access to my movement like that. They're tracking you anyway. You're carrying
Unfortunately,
you're
yes.
carrying a phone around, you're getting tracked. I mean, it's happening, so you might as well get the discount for it. And it can be a big discount. So I really like to encourage people to use that one. Along with, things like defensive driving, good grades if you're a student or if you have a young driver on your policy. That's another reason to encourage them to make good grades because those typically come with a good discount on the policy.
Absolutely. And I want to drive home a point on the defensive driving classes too, which I don't know if this is common knowledge for a lot of drivers out there. For parents, if you have young driver, I know the class is not cheap. It's another expense that you have to worry about. But I promise you, it is absolutely worth it. Not only that, that class is going to last you 3 years worth of discounts,
Yep.
but it's also going to help, make sure that your young driver is aware of all the safety driving behaviors or tips that, you can build a good, clean foundation that way. And not only the discount, guys, because statistically, more than likely, a young person will get into a car accident within the first 3 years of them driving. And if you think their rate to have them on your policy is high now with a clean record, I don't think you will be very happy if they were to have a speeding ticket or an car accident, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's absolutely worth every penny and time to send your young driver to take the defensive driving class. And then same thing goes with our seniors, right? And I feel bad
Sure.
saying seniors is 55 years and older, but that's usually the standard guideline with a lot of carriers. So make sure you check with your agent, make sure you check with your carrier and see what the guidelines are and see if you even qualify before you spend the money taking the class. But once you take the class, it's going to be good for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
It's going to make
Keep
its
that
money
discount for
back.
3 years. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, yep. And then number three, I think this is a big one
This is
that,
a big
but
one.
but it's a simple one. I think this one you don't even have to like remember what we talk about on this podcast today, and you can manage through it. I'm pretty sure.
I'm
So
pretty sure.
yeah,
Be open and honest on your application. And I feel like I encounter this one, all day, every day, some days too.
yeah.
Um, if you're trying to hide things from your agent, number one, it's going to catch up with you. It's going to, like I said, we're pulling, public information. They're pulling public information when they run your renewal. Your mileage is going to be known. And believe it or not, folks, even the drivers in your household is going to be known. And so, you really just need to be open and honest on your application. Make sure that you're paying the rate that is fair for what you're doing. I know it's expensive, but that is the case. You don't want to get in a situation where you have a claim that's going to be denied because you lied about something on the application and what is actually going on in your household is not covered. Whether that's drivers or where the car is garaged, there's a million things that I feel like people kind of try to skirt around when they're applying for a new policy, but it's really just not worth the little white lies.
And then I think secondly, also, if you're working with a good agent, that actually, that can help make sure that you get the right coverage at a good price. You also want to make sure your agent understand your situation as well. right, Christy?
Absolutely.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of time we can help you set up a policy that works for your situation, that's going to fit your wallet better, that's going to make sure that, we control that risk for you because you work really hard to build your wealth and to
Yeah.
accumulate your asset. You don't want, just because you want to save a little dollar here and there on this policy period, that you leave information out on the table, because I do believe, and we do this for our customers all the time, um, in our offices, is, we want to take the time to understand what you're trying to accomplish and where you are at. And that way we can make the right recommendation and we can look for the best discount and the best setup for you to get you the best rate.
Yeah.
And of course, ultimately, it goes back to Christy's point, right? Is all insurance really matters is when you need to use it during a claim.
Yep. Yep.
So,
So, to keep it simple, the don'ts, you know, don't mess up your driving record.
yeah,
Keep your coverage intact, and pay your bills on time. And don't hop around too much.
don't let your insurance lapse,
Don't let it
right?
lapse.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you are, and the things that you do want to do is you want to make sure that you keep your driving record clean and make sure you ask about discounts all the time. Be open to that, understand exactly how they work and how you can take advantage of them. Some of them require a little bit more work, like the good student discount and whatnot, but it's worthwhile. And then, of course, the last thing you can do is, make sure to be honest and accurate on the application so that your agent can best help you.
You got it.
Yeah,
And if you don't have an agent who's willing to take the time and do that with you, then call Tanya or call me because we are.
absolutely. And so thank you for tuning in with us today. If you found today's episode helpful, please hit the like button and follow us or share it with someone that you
Share it with your
know.
friends. Yep.
Yeah, because they may need it too. They're in the same boat as you. So until next time, we'll see you.
So long.